Hey, Beverly. And then we've got Clarissa. Hello, ladies. I'm
Hi.
really excited to get us moving. And let's see. I'm still trying to get. I started running my mouth and didn't do the things that I should be doing. Let's see. Oh, come on, come on. We and for those of you that have never participated on the call, you know, I will always stay on after the hour to answer any questions. And so I'm getting my screen up.
And Sherita, I'm going to thank you early right now because I have to leave at about 1:45. But I
Okay.
always appreciate being here, and I know you're going to be wonderful as usual.
Well, thank you, Beverly. Thank you so much. Beverly, you did get your letter back, right?
You mean from the IRS?
Uh-huh.
No,
Oh,
no.
is
And I haven't called them, and I
well
guess
then
huh?
definitely call them because one of my clients hadn't gotten her letter and she had been approved for a couple of months.
Same with me.
I
I
was gonna
got
say,
approved.
Natalie, that also
Yeah.
happened to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to go to their site and
Uh-huh.
you check your status and then click on it and it will be there. If it's been a while, it could be it was just sitting right there all that time. I never got a official letter from them, but it was
Okay.
on the website.
Okay.
Yeah,
Check.
and see, and for all of you, that's what ever since now that because up until January of last year, before that, we weren't filing in the portal. We were sending in the documents, and so people would get their letters back, and we weren't experiencing this. But now that they are doing it through the portal, I never know how my clients are getting there. I don't know if they're getting it through an email. Natalie, you had to check, and you saw yours. Just
Yeah, I just
following
was
up.
on the IRS website, checked under my name and it was sitting right there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I think I had been approved like 2 months prior to me checking right there. It was sitting right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
So I would do that. Go to irs.gov and you can you can do a search.
Okay.
Or you can also just type in a Google search, IRS tax exempt customer service, and get that phone number. When you call, be prepared to be on no less than at least 30 minutes, sometimes longer,
Okay.
just waiting. Okay.
Yes.
So again, I want to thank everyone for being on to the free coaching Q&A. And this transpires every first Friday, and I will continue to do that as long as I see that there's an interest. And so now, like I said, we have 21 people that are registered, as we can see right here. But for those of you, if you are coming on, you will be able to go back and listen to the recording so that you will not have missed any of these wonderful questions that people have asked. So first, let's see, who do I have up? Clarissa is from, how do you say that? Dalzell, South Carolina. And Clarissa asks, can I operate under my LLC name and my DBA name? Let me move my menu. At the same time, or should I open a separate LLC? Well, oftentimes when people have multiple businesses, your services may be overlapping. So you're operating out of both anyway. Now, not knowing the kind of business that you're doing, and Clarissa, you're not on yet that I know of. So, and if you happen to come on, or if you're there, Clarissa, unmute yourself because I don't.
Sherita, this is Vanessa. That's my
Okay.
niece, and
Okay.
she's doing coloring books, but she also wants to do a publishing company. But she's doing like coloring books that help young adults and adolescents feel good about themselves. So coloring books for people who have disabilities, Asians, African Americans, Caucasians, different diversities, and they can be personalized, or they have characters so that the kids can identify with themselves within the coloring books.
Okay. Well, now, you guys, first, anytime when you're doing something to make a difference, to empower, I would do it as a nonprofit. Even if you don't want to develop your own nonprofit, you can collaborate with a nonprofit so that grants can cover the publishing of your coloring books, pay you a salary for doing whatever you're going to be doing with the individuals and the coloring books. Because all of those strategies, though coloring books, are helping with leadership development, improve communication skills, self-esteem, bullying prevention, and you mentioned various also ethnicities. So it's helping with race relations, cultural awareness. So everything that I just named, there's a grant for that. And most grant funders want to give to a tax exempt organization. So if you don't want to develop your own nonprofit, you can go up under the umbrella of another nonprofit, and they serve as what's called your fiscal agent. And that way you can further advance your coloring books. Okay. The next question, and Vanessa, I'm glad that you know who she is and can help us. She says, can I register as a women-owned and minority-owned business? Oh, absolutely. And this is for all of you. Even if you're a nonprofit, you can still register as a MBE, which is Minority Business Enterprise, or WBE, which is a Women Business Enterprise. And in the next couple of slides, I'm going to be showing you some things as far as that. And then third, can I write off business expenses from last year under my LLC if not forming my LLC until this year? No, you cannot. See, if you're not already that business, then you don't have the opportunity to write off what are the business expenses. And so it's almost like if I'm not married and I do a lot of things last year, but then I get married this year, I can't claim being married for last year, on my taxes because I wasn't. So you've got to already be established in order to do the claim that you would like to do. Now, this is the government site for the women business enterprises, and you can call this number. So I wanted to make sure that I have that there. And then also I'm going to share this link so that you can go to the site. But the WBE certification, and oftentimes there are local offices. Like my sister ran the WBE, the MBE and the WBE programs in Kansas City for years, and people got their certification through her. So there are local offices. Before I go further, there's something in the chat, so let me just check. Okay, experienced the same thing here in Arkansas. Let's see. What is that? Christy, can you explain what you mean by that? Because maybe I went past what you were saying. You said I experienced this.
I was just responding to the first question about doing business under your LLC. And then you have a DBA as well.
Yes.
I'm doing that. I just send in fictitious name change.
Mhm.
So now I can do business under either name. And I
Okay.
start a separate LLC for it.
Yes.
That's an LLC, is not a 501c3, so that's different.
Mm-hmm. Now, Christy, are you operating off of your social security number, or did you also do an employer ID number or an EIN?
It's an EIN.
Okay, because and I'm glad that we're talking about this, because if you don't want to be taxed on your social security number, then also do an EIN number so that now you're operating your business totally under that EIN, because it's different taxation. So then your LLC can pay you, and then you're taxed on whatever income that is, but you've got the separation of your taxation. Now,
wow, that's good.
So because again, that's why there's the different entities, because there's certain write-offs that you can have that are for your business expenses that otherwise, if you're under your social security number, you won't have that opportunity, and you're taxed on all of it, and the taxation is different.
Right.
So
Okay.
and to get your EIN number is free. You can do it in 5 minutes. And so you can just type in filing EIN number online in a Google search, and it's really, really simple to do. Okay. And then now I would like to collaborate on the coloring books for my nonprofit. Please reach out. Great, great, great. So Natalie's speech has said that. Natalie, what phone number would you like for them to reach out to? Say it, and I'll also put it in the chat.
It's 818
818
462
462
8643. That's the main number. And then if the auntie's on the phone that want us to take the other one, I put my cell number, and then I put my email address in there, which is inspeech@bmu.
You already have them in there, Natalie?
Yeah, it's in there.
Oh, I'll just scroll down. Oh, there you are. So I won't have to repeat that.
Right.
And now, Natalie, give
Yeah.
them a little bit of who you are so that they know who they're going to be collaborating with.
Okay, so my name is Natalie Speech, and I am the curator and the co-founder of the Black Entertainment Museum Foundation located in California. And the museum, our mission is to chronologize and memorialize and pay tribute to the lives and works of Black creative talent in all aspects of the entertainment industry.
And that is the only one that exists, isn't it, Natalie?
Correct. That's what we specifically deal with. So it's television, film, theater, music, and literature.
Outstanding, outstanding. So now, so let me close
And I'd
that.
like the coloring books to give out to kids, because while we're waiting to get our physical location, we're going to do a mobile museum. So we travel around the schools, and be great to have the kids leave with a coloring book.
And their coloring books, once you have it going, can be in your gift shop,
Correct.
just like any other museum. And you guys, what would be an absolutely phenomenal collaboration is with hospitals, with children that are laying in bed and have illnesses, and they could be gifted to the hospitals also. There's so many opportunities that exist. So that's why I love these calls with the groups. So now, so I'm also going to put this, let me pause this. Oh, before I go further, there's the WBE for Women Business Enterprises, but also there's the Minority Business Enterprises. And the Minority Business Enterprise is a state program also designed for businesses which are 51% owned and operated by American citizens considered an ethnic minority, like the BIPOC populations, Black, Indigenous, and people of color. But also when we're talking about minorities, that is women of all colors, okay? Now, so I'm going to pause for a moment. I want to put both of these links in the chat. So the first one that I'm putting in the chat is for the Women Business Enterprise. Add that to the chat. Oh, and Clarissa is saying, let's see, I had some issues with my phone here now. I thank you, my auntie, for staying. Thank you, Clarissa, for being on. And she stood in for you, girlie. She stood in for you. So that's the WBE. And I just put that in the chat. And then for the Minority Business Enterprise, I'm putting this in the chat. And you guys, you can just copy everything out of the chat. So. Great. So next, Gary out of Illinois asked, Makanda, Illinois, asked, traveling nursing and incorporating it to a business for myself. That's one of the questions. I'm going to talk about that on the next slide. And then his question 2 is grant and other important information to transition to the business. So I'm showing you here, Gary, this is a nonprofit staffing company. And it says your guide to membership benefits of travel nurse organizations. And they connect people to different travel nurses organizations and travel nurses. And it started by this guy. He says in 2008, Martin Vidal, the visionary president and CEO of Trusted Nurse Staffing, embarked on a mission to revolutionize the healthcare staffing industry. He envisioned a future where the well-being of hardworking nurses Allied professionals and hospitals would be center stage. So today the vision has become a reality, propelling us to become a trusted leader nationwide. And so, Gary, I'm going to put that in the chat along with, so that you can go to this link. And then also, let's see. Uh-oh, went too fast. And then here's a site for even travel nursing housing, and it is a nonprofit. And so I have this because in case you guys would like to do like an Airbnb for nursing, maybe you have a room that they could rent. Maybe you have an apartment or a full house that you could rent as far as for traveling nurses. You can list it on this site. So I wanted to make sure that you guys knew about this for just in case you know someone. So let me put these in the link in the chat. And then Gary, we're going to look at some funding for you. So first, here's the link for the staffing. I got all these menus open, so excuse me. Let's see. My chat.
Hello.
Hey, Gary.
Yes.
So I'm putting that link in there. Get that out of the chat. And then for the staffing. And this, oh, there was one more I wanted to show you. Got so many menus open. I wanted to show you this one, Gary, because SkyOn is a nonprofit staffing company also. And I'm showing all of you this because people always think that staffing companies have to be a for-profit. This is a staffing company for all kinds of positions, but they do temporary staffing. They have an award-winning national support nonprofit staffing agency and recruiting service. So I wanted you guys to see this because people always have in their mind what can or can't be a nonprofit. They say here, the award-winning nonprofit staffing and recruiting. We connect mission-driven organizations with exceptional talent and hiring resources while recruiting for all U.S. locations. We are most active in regions with growing nonprofit communities. SkyOn Nonprofit Staffing specializes in, it's devoted to, and was born out of the nonprofit sector. We are nonprofit staffing experts. So they're not only limited to nursing staffing. I wanted you guys to see that they are a regular staffing organization that you can have access to. So let's see. I'll give you these links, the other link. Any question while I'm sharing links?
So when it comes to taxing, can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
When it comes to taxing, like when she travels, she lives in Illinois, but she goes to Ohio and Texas. Illinois taxes her travel in Texas and Ohio. Is that legal, or what? How can she get around something like that?
Well, I'm sure if Illinois does it, that it's legal. Now, I'm not a tax person, so I don't like to do too much taxing on as far as that, but she's probably doing this also on her own Social Security number. And she's actually, as a traveling nurse, that's really a business. So maybe she should start, like, let's say her name is June Johnson. Maybe she should have the JJ, traveling nursing, company or something. And now she has an she could develop it as an LLC. And that way, then the taxation is on her LLC, but she can take advantage of the different write-offs that businesses can do, including travel or whatever else that businesses can write off. Okay.
So does she get a EIN number?
Yes, she should get an EIN number for that business.
Okay.
Okay. So now, Gary, I'm just going to show you how there are grants. See, you can see my screen, right? Nursing grants.
Okay,
So see, she could be going after, you don't have to get your grants through the hospital. She can get grants, but see, again, many funders are wanting to fund to a 501c3 organization. So Gary, for instance, like if you start your own nursing registry, make it a 501c3, now the woman you're speaking of and other nurses can work through your organization, and now and then they're being paid as a consultant through your nursing registry, and you could be getting grants that also can help you to expand that business. For instance, also through your nursing registry, you could be getting grants that could help to pay for services that those nurses are going to be offering to different like low-income individuals that need those nurses services, but they can't really afford them. You could be getting grants to offset that cost, and grants could be paying those nurses to do what they do. Did I make that clear?
yes.
Okay. So this is just an example of what's available for just me just typing in Google and grants for nursing. Okay.
Okay.
All righty. Let me go back to my presentation. Jennifer, you're saying, let's see, I logged on a bit late. I have Jennifer, you're saying, I have a for-profit company, a pediatric outpatient clinic who serves patients who are underserved in a rural area. Most children are Medicaid. From this, we formed a not-for-profit organization. There are so many needs beyond the outpatient therapy we do. We are seeking grants for the social services we provide. Oh, Jennifer, thank you first for doing the work that you're doing. And you're in what town?
We're in Waimama, Florida. So it used to be very much like a farm working community. And obviously because of the housing coming into Florida, it's starting to shift, but the population that's still there is very much underserved. A lot of Latino, a lot of African American children, and migrant farm workers that are still living in the area. But like I said, most of them are Medicaid recipients. Some are even, the parents are not legal. So we're having to find ways to go around to serve the children because parents don't have the means to get them the therapy. And then with that, we find out that there's so much more beyond that.
Well, great. Well, hopefully you can see my screen right now. I just typed in wellness grants, rural areas, Florida, 2024, because I didn't want to get old stuff. And then because I want to
Yeah.
see what they have in big money, I typed in million. Okay. So when I am NIH, the National Endowment, the National, I always forget what NIH is. We'll see here in just a minute. $1.6 billion grants. And I typed in, and specific for Florida. So NIH awards $1.6 million grant. And this is for medical services. Then I just wanted to branch over there for you to see that screen. Just as I scroll down, HHS awards planning grants for 15 states, rural economic development loans, if you want to do that. CMS announces 50 million in grants. And so there's so much money. And then you said a lot of key things, immigrants. So if we change this to be, let's just take this out and put in immigrants. Okay. And I'm going to not even limit it to rural areas. So when you do the various searches, it opens up other big pots of money. So it's all about using your keywords just when you're doing a search. So see how it changed to see the other money that's available? And then let's say that you're wanting to go after dollars for a specific illness or something, like maybe to combat maybe nutrition, to help with nutrition. Now that's going to open up another pot of money or pots of money. So Your funding opportunities change also when you put in specific subject matter. All right.
Thank you.
Are welcome. So let me get back over to the presentation. And again, you guys, you don't have to just wait. If you've got questions as I go, that's the way this is designed. So just ask away. Come on, come on. So let's see next. Miss Natalie, if you change the mission statement for your nonprofit, do you need to tell the state and feds? If so, how do you do that? Well, now, Natalie, unless your mission statement totally changes to be something else than what you established your organization to be. For instance, let's say that it's a child care center, and now you're no longer doing child care, you are doing automotive training. It's totally different. You're not even doing what you first submitted your IRS to do, your IRS document to do. Then you would need to update the IRS, and there are forms on the IRS website where you would amend your tax exempt organization. And the same thing with the state, there's an amendment form that you can amend if you're totally changing. But if you're just adding some additional services that are going to still touch on and enhance the target population that you were initially working with anyway, then you don't have to do those notifications to the state and federal. Okay.
Okay, yeah, no, we just changed it from television, film to incorporate all aspects of the entertainment industry.
Then you're good.
Okay,
Then you're good.
cool.
Now with California, every 2 years, you just do a statement of information form, but that's just updating that you're still in existence. And if your board, or if anyone on your board has changed or your address has changed or something like that. But they still don't ask on that form about your change of your mission or anything.
Okay, perfect.
And then second question, let me move my menu. What is a good software to track your finances and donation sponsorships and dates and all of that? Well, there are so many out there. But so I like this report. And they just did this report in 2023, Non-Top Profit Tech for Good. And they talk about all kinds of software, because depending on what you're doing, depending on what the organization is doing, whether you're just doing it for fundraising or if you're wanting to track memberships, I mean, there are so many different varieties out there. So I would first start with this report, Natalie, and then they lead you to a lot of different things. So let's see, let me put this link in the chat.
Yeah, because I've talked to a couple of different places, but I'm just being lazy. I want some place where I can track the day-to-day operating costs, like a QuickBooks. But at the same time, I know I have to keep the grants that we applied for, ones we received, dinners, I want to be able to track that as well. Right now I'm doing it on paper, but I want to be more,
Okay.
technology savvy.
Well, a lot of those things are, you could just be creating an Excel spreadsheet also. You can have, like you can even have it in columns, funding received, and the months. You can have sponsorships received, in-kind donations. I mean, a lot of that, until you decide which software you want to use, can be done in an Excel spreadsheet. And so now I have a few more questions that we will, let's see, second. So I'm going to stop the share because these are just questions that I'm going to answer out. Let's see. Oh, what did I? Hey, Michelle, how are you, darling?
I'm good.
Good. Let's see who else. Come on. And we've got Jennifer on, and it's come on since hi, Jennifer. Okay, I'm waiting on this document to open with my other questions. Now, I'm not looking at the chat, so if you guys have a question, instead of typing in the chat, just chime in. Okay, Yvette from Fairburn, Georgia asked, are for-profit businesses eligible for grants? Well, there are grants that for-profit businesses can go after, but they're specific. Like I'm working with an organization right now that they are writing, they're developing a series of documentaries. And there's a lot of film grants out there, and you don't have to be a nonprofit. There are grants out there for now, during COVID, there were all kinds of grants that were being given, and you didn't have to be a nonprofit. Like many of you probably received a check. Those are from stimulus dollars. Now, what people don't realize is stimulus are grants, but the reason why it's called stimulus is because that's funding to stimulate the economy. So that's just another name for grants. And that's why people a lot of times don't realize they're getting a grant. The same way with scholarships or grants. But because it's for college, they call them scholarships. So people don't see themselves as getting a grant. The same way there are bailouts for the larger companies, like the Ford Motor Company or GM or the airlines received a lot of money, and those were bailout dollars. But again, that's stimulus funding, and those are grants. So there are grants, but usually when you're a for-profit and there's more grants available for you, there's usually something going on with our economy. And now the government or other funders have made dollars available to help to stimulate our economy so we don't totally crash. But most funders, I would say more than 95% of funders, want to fund to a tax-exempt organization so they can write the dollars off. If you don't want to become a tax-exempt organization, again, you can go up under the umbrella of a tax-exempt organization. They serve as your fiscal sponsor, or also called fiscal agent. The dollars funnel through them to you, but that way still the giver of the funds can write the dollars off, okay? The second question, interested in writing grants for others as a service, how can I get started? Well, I would just say first you want to take Sherita's masterclass. Now, you can just start. If you've got experience in grant writing, you can just start marketing yourself as a grant writer. You don't have to be certified or anything like that. But let me say this, like about 15 years ago when I was in Los Angeles, there was a grant writer that had worked for the Children's Hospital, and she had been very successful in writing grants. And so she decided to quit working there and start her own consulting business as a grant writer. That's when she found out what she didn't know, because when she took on the job, she already was working for a large conglomerate, a large business that had already had years and years and years in getting grants. So that was an advantage. They already had their collaborations established. They already had their programs and services established, and she was recycling grants that had already been written. So yes, she knows how to recycle those grants. But now when she quit her business and now quit the job and now want to work for other businesses, now she's working for someone that has never gotten a grant before, had never done collaborations, didn't have their projects. So she has to understand project development, budget forecasting, developing collaborations, helping with community development. There's a lot of things that she didn't realize she did not know, okay? And so it's almost like working for another company, and you've learned their acronyms, you learn the inner workings of that company. You're taking your experience now and want to go to another company. Well, you've got to learn your footing, because your first meeting there, you're sitting there and they're talking about all these different acronyms, which are within that company, and you don't understand. So you're feeling confused. You're getting to know who you're working with. You're learning your new job. You're learning which departments you have to go where. So even though you knew your job very well, when you're stepping into a new environment, there's a whole lot of other things that you did not realize that you knew. It's almost like, you guys, this is totally off the subject. Living in Kansas City, Missouri, living there, growing up there, I left there at 25, 26 years old to go to Los Angeles. Now I'm in a totally new city. Well, in Kansas City, I knew all the streets like the back of my hand. It was moving to Los Angeles that I realized that I needed glasses, because now I'm on all these new streets and I'm trying to see the street signs. I would get up on it and pass it before I realized I was there. And I'm like, dang, you know, I didn't realize that I was, is it farsighted, nearsighted? So anyway, when you get to new environments is when you realize there's stuff about you, even yourself, that you didn't know. Okay. So that back to grant writing. Then question 3, do you provide businesses to rebranding or relaunching strategies? Absolutely. When I'm working with my clients, a matter of fact, I work with them with their branding, and because of my graphic design experience, we even develop logos. I help clients to develop from their Facebook pages to their websites. And if you guys ever look at my current website, I developed that website. I've done all the pages. When you see me promoting on my Facebook, I'm doing all those promotions, the graphics, all of that. Okay. Any questions, comments before I move on? And if so, just stop me. Dr. Stone out of San Diego. Oh, go ahead.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Because I am not technology savvy. I'm definitely not one for creating websites and all that other stuff. But are there places where we can go to learn the what is it, the dummy version of how to do websites and deal with social media?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me see. Let me see.
I only say that is because I was one of my advisors was like, okay, you waiting around here to get that website done, or you waiting around here to get a poster done? How long is it taking you? And then how much time have you lost and wasted? And so you need to learn some of the basics. So
Well,
if
for
I
one,
could just get,
oh, I'm sorry, Natalie, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying. So I figured since you brought that up, I might as well ask.
Well, there are some sites that like Canva, they've got a lot of those templates already created. But also I teach graphic design. Like I taught a graphic design course there because of Christy at the University of Central Arkansas. So I have a simple class where I teach you graphic design, and believe it or not, I show you how to do everything that I do in Microsoft Word. All the graphics that you see me create when I'm promoting are done in Microsoft Word. And the reason
Really?
why I
Okay.
do it in Word and I teach it in Word is because most all of us work in Microsoft Word. And so instead of you having to go out and buy a software program and all of that, it's not that I'm against Adobe. I mean, what are some of those?
Canva.
I forget. But um, again, a lot of in most cases, people are already working in Microsoft Word. So I like to show that there's ways for you to do some amazing things in Microsoft Word. Okay, so let me show my screen. Let's see. Come on. So see, this is my graphic design. And matter of fact, Christy had that picture taken when I was there at the University of Central Arkansas. And so, like, see all these graphics that you see, everything you see here is done in Microsoft Word. Everything. Even this logo. All these logos are Microsoft Word.
Oh.
Huh,
Okay.
who- That could all get done like that.
Say that again.
And who knew that all that could happen through Word?
Well, let me just kind of show you guys something. Let's see. Trying to think what I can, let's see.
If we want to take your class on this, how do we reach out to you? Just through your site? Okay.
I had promoted this class on Facebook, but I didn't even get not one bite. So I will send you some information on it. And
That I might need it, but I don't know right yet, but I just having that option is just good.
okay. Well, I'll send you guys this link I'll put this link in the chat and you can look and see
Okay.
what it offers. And then I can always schedule the class again, but let me see. Chat. Come on, chat. Okay.
I'm gonna watch the rest on the replay, on the recording, but I want to wait for that chat to come up so I can copy it over.
Okay, so there's that. And then let me stop the share, get back to my questions. Okay. Let's see. Dr. Stone says, how do I get past the school districts that restrict their requirements that include a curriculum that is ineffective? Well, Dr. Stone, if you are, a lot of times, like what I've done with a program out of Los Angeles, instead of going into the school district, you can have an after school program and then you don't have to worry about the red tape of the school district. I developed an after school program in Compton, California. His wife, she was teaching, she had their after school program operating out of her garage that she had turned into like a classroom. People said that she would not get funding. Not only did I help him get funding, we ended up also getting a $10,000 donation from Walmart. He got over 200 backpacks donated, filled with school supplies, and we put on a huge community event. And his after school program has been operating for years. So you don't have to go through the red tape of the school district to still be effective and work with the youth that are part of the school district. Okay. How do I get accepted to teach as a consultant or train teachers from school districts that receive grant government money? Well, first, let me say this. All money doesn't come from the government. I love this, that Target gives over $5 million a week in grant funding. Walmart is not a government funder. The Joan Kroc Foundation. I mean, there are thousands on top of thousands of funders. And so I'm going to jump over to a site to Google and show you that but your third question is, how do I find an angel benefactor for my literacy program? So here I go. I'm going to show my screen so that you guys can see this. And let's see. Okay, let's go to Google. And let's type in literacy grants. And let's look at 2024. And since you're in San Diego, let's narrow it down to San Diego, California. Oops, I didn't mean to type that in. But anyway, the Bessie Minor Swift Foundation now accepting grants. Funding results even for literacy coaches, since you were asking about that. There's funding for literacy coaches. Adult literacy grant program, if you're going to be also helping adults with literacy. The Equity Impact Grant Program, applications for 2024. Let's see, nonprofit update events. Let's see, County office awarded $14.5 million grant. So the Jason Taylor Foundation literacy grants. So Dr. Stone, you can just do a simple search like this, and we don't need that A there, that was supposed to be California. 100 literacy and libraries grants for California. So there's all kinds of funds out there for you to do exactly what you're saying, Dr. Stone. And thank you for your questions. Let's see, something else in the chat. Carissa says, thank you. I would like to collaborate on the coloring books. Okay, we got everybody. All right. And then now next, let me go. I'm just going to stay on Google and go over to my questions. I'll do that. Let's see. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Come on. Okay, and then grant service. Okay, Vanessa says grants for coaching. Vanessa, what kind of coaching?
Life coaching, as a certified life coach,
Oh, okay.
helping people get to their next phase in life who, feel like they may have missed the mark. Usually, doesn't have to be women, but specifically, in the cases where what I'm doing now is women over 50 who just feel like their purpose in their life has been delayed or they missed the mark, to help them get back on track, to identify with the calling and the purpose that's on their life, and to help them walk that out to the next level.
Now, if you see, I put life coaching quotes so that it locks those two words together. So I
Okay.
put life coach, comma, grants. And the Well Life Foundation, see, life coach training, they give scholarships,
Yes.
grants for life coach business, apply now for ICF coach scholarship. So you can look at these, but now what I would also suggest is look at think about your outcomes, like you just said. So let's say that you want to go help someone, your life coaching, after they've gotten life coaching from you, what are some of the benefits? Like leadership?
Correct.
Well, putting in leadership grants. I'm going to lock this in quotes, and I'm going to put leadership development.
Okay.
Lock that in quotes, because you don't have to only look at coaching grants. You
Coaching.
look at what you're doing.
Correct. The
There's
results.
development grants,
Mm-hmm.
leadership and infrastructure funding team, leadership development grants there, emerging leadership grants with the We Rise Foundation. And then you also mentioned women. So I'm going to put women, and I'm going to put empowerment in the quotes.
Yes.
That opens you up for women's empowerment grants. Let's say that you want to help prevent stress. Women. Here's grants for helping women in stress. If you want to help with career development. Funding for career development grants.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks.
Okay, so I call them tickler words. Think of all your tickler words and do
Yes.
those kinds of search. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back over to my questions. Vanessa, you had a couple of more. Let's see. Grants to service diversity and inclusion. Oh, say that again, my dear.
Yeah, they weren't specific questions, but just different types of grants in those areas, and you're covering it very, very well. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So when you say inclusion, are you talking about what kind of inclusion?
Just training programs that cater toward diversity and inclusion, DE&I and equity, those types of programs, but training and workshops that are centered around the DE&I network.
You guys, since George Floyd, grant funders have opened up as far as equity, racial empowerment, all of that. I mean, I've seen grants now for equity and racial tension that I've never seen in the over 30 years that I've been doing this. So just typing in equity and grants, it brings this up. If you want to talk about race relations, it brings up even more funders. If you want to talk about cultural awareness, it brings up other funders. Okay. So there's no limit. I every day, I just get so excited about this industry and the opportunities, because if we all got focused on making a difference, for one, we wouldn't be as worried about who's going to be president. Because when we are working at the grassroots level, you guys, and making a difference at that level where we can make a difference, no matter who's president, when you are empowering individuals to just deal with life, everything is going to run smoother. Okay. And so So that's why I love doing this kind of work, is because, and coaching like what we're doing today, is because when you can touch people, it's just like if we train our children in the household to handle life, they're going to do a whole lot better no matter what they run into outside, right? The same way with your programs and services. If you are helping individuals to be more well-rounded in no matter what they're doing, then it doesn't matter who's president. It doesn't matter as much about the state of our economy, because people are able to deal with that better. They're able to come up with better ideas. A lot of people don't realize that even in the worst economy we've ever experienced, which is the 1930s depression, more millionaires came out of that depression than in any other time in recorded history, because people got creative and decided, what else do we need? What's missing? What's going to make this world feel better? What's going, and so it's about making a difference on the grassroots level that can impact any and everything else. Okay. Any questions, comments?
Sherita, this
Yes.
is Sherita. Can you hear me? Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I just wanted to tell everyone in this lovely group that I actually came here for a pep talk. You know how sometimes you need a shot of adrenaline, all right? And I have received it, and I'm just going to get silent again and receive whatever else is offered to me.
oh my
Thank
gosh,
you, Sherita.
so much. I appreciate that too. Now, Sherita and I go way back. We met in Kansas City. I actually
Don't
called
say how far.
a friend of mine to who I went to junior high and high school with. I called her, and this young lady answered the phone. And I said, well, can you tell her that Sherita called? She said, Sherita, my name is Sherita. And we have been like sisters. And matter of fact, we're still very close. And I don't even interact with the other lady. And so it's just something how life goes. And a little bit on that, you guys, here I go. But a lot of times we are trying and trying to do something, and we will meet someone or go down a particular path, and that's the particular path that God has us to go. And we might keep fighting a situation, but that's why I love to show you how to do what your soul wants to do. What is it that has been yearning inside of you, and how can I help you get a grant for that? I was just on a radio show the other night, and I was talking about a young lady that loved to crochet. She's now just working. She's moved to a new state, working with to help her son. She's watching her grandkids, and just being at home, she's crocheting, and she wanted to do more. She didn't realize that she could collaborate with the local YMCA and have a crocheting program, whether it's after school for kids or a senior program. God doesn't put anything in us that we cannot survive off of. Understand that. No matter what it is our passion or our talents, he didn't give it to us just because. There's something that we can do with it, and you can literally survive off of it if you know how to advance it. Okay. And so now, Vanessa, before I move on, any other questions? Oh, you asked about grant training. Well, I have a master class that's starting this month on the 10th. Just ran a special for it for the Martin Luther King holiday. The special actually ended yesterday. It's a $600 class that I'm offering for $350. But if anyone on this session, Wardell,
Yes, I'm interested. I'm interested.
oh, okay. Go to my website. Let me put you, I'll just put the link in the chat. And I think what I was showing them last night, we have 9 people, 8 or 9 people. I limit that class to 10 so that everyone gets personal attention. Let's see. It's a 6-week class, 2 hours each week on a Saturday. And when you leave the class, your proposal is written. And let's see. Here it is. So this is the link. I will put this in the chat. Is it not working? Is it not working? There we go. All righty. Vanessa, did that cover you? You're good?
Yes, thank you. Thanks so
Great.
much, Sherita.
Great, great, great. Okay, I think I just have one or two more questions. Let's see. Getting warm in here. It's getting hot in here. Did that song say so? Take off your
Oh.
clothes. Cindy from Logan'sboro, Georgia. Where do I begin? Where do I begin what? Well, her next question, how do I register the name of my nonprofit? Okay, so if you're talking about where do you begin, I do also have a nonprofit masterclass. I was running a special on that too. It's a $650 class that I was offering for $399. But because I didn't get any bites on that class, I wasn't going to hold this next session. But if there's anyone listening to this, if I get a minimum of 5 people, I will hold that class. And so if someone's interested, please call me within the next week so that I can see if we can get that class going. And then your next question is registration, rescind, confirmation. Oh, that's not a question. Okay. So again, I don't think you're on, Cindy, but you can always give me a call after listening to this recording. You can call me at 501-499-6171. 501-499-6171. And then Jennifer says, how do I look and apply for grants? Well, I've been showing different ways for that. So Jennifer, if you're on, you can give me something a little bit more specific. And then you said, how do I market my nonprofit? Always, if nothing else, you guys, if you do not have a website, set up a Facebook page. It's totally free. And I hear people saying, well, no, I don't want to be on social media. Who cares that I'm having coffee? You use anything in the way that you can best use it. Don't worry about how someone else uses it. I tell everyone, if you are not on social media, and especially if you're trying to do a business or market something, you're hurting yourself. Social media is like you're being handed the biggest, most accessible billboard in the world for totally free. Why wouldn't you market that? And I've even had someone to say, well, Sherita, I'm on social media, but the only people that I will let be my friend is my family and friends. Well, that's like you having the best billboard in the world and you're making everyone else that go past it be blindfolded. Now, if you just have it just to share family pictures and all of that, then make a private group. But if you're trying to market anything, there's no better way right now than social media. So I don't know what else to say as far as that. And then the last one, how can I grow the business and the nonprofit? Social media. Start using it. Learn how to do eye-catching graphics. You guys, this is where a lot of people make a mistake. I never post anything on Facebook or anywhere and don't say something about the picture. If you just post a picture, you know, and people say, I'll look at that picture and say, okay, what is this? Or who is this? Or what are they doing? Or is it a birthday party? Or are they just at their son's house? If you don't say anything about that picture, you may as well not post it. Say something about it. If you don't do anything but say, had a great time with my 3 sons and daughter-in-law yesterday. Say something, or you'll wonder why you're not getting any kind of response. Okay. Anything else? Let me go back over and look at my PowerPoint, see if there's anything else that we want to see, say, whatever. Excuse me. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, no more questions here. Any other questions, comments? Well, if not, I know that some of you had to go. I want to thank all of you for being on. Have an absolutely phenomenal weekend. Please share with other individuals that this Q&A happens every first Friday, no matter what their questions. It could be about the board of directors. It could be about, I'm thinking about, you know, relocating to another state. What would that look like? Well, I've done it. And I just jump in, you guys. You know, I know how to swim, so I'll dive into some water, as long as I know I'm not diving too deep and there's rocks or whatever. And if I don't know that there's rocks and I'm getting ready to dive in, don't dive deep, dive out. That way you just kind of skim across the water. I'm relating that to life. You know, don't one thing that I believe, I live it and I coach in that fashion. With faith comes finance. With faith comes finance. And so if you just step out there, believe that you can do it, learn how to develop collaborations. Don't be afraid to step out and do something new, because also I'm just that crazy woman. I don't care what anyone thinks. A lot of times people would not do something because they're afraid of what someone will say. Girl, I told you it wouldn't work. I told you you shouldn't have moved there. I told you. Those same people saying, I told you, told you, told you. They're living in fear, and they're afraid to do certain things because of whatever their fears are. I'm not trying to judge anyone. All I'm saying is that we all, when we're listening to someone even giving us advice, look at how they're living their life. Look at, do they even step out on faith? And if they don't, take it with a grain of salt and do what works for you. Because I also, when I moved to Los Angeles as a single mom with 2 young sons, I literally landed in LA, driving in LA, and I had $200 in my purse. But I had a temporary assignment lined up for me, and I was coming. But if it didn't work out, I could go back home to Kansas. They love me. I had no fear in my mind that they would be saying, girl, I told you. Because you know what? I had the courage to do it. A lot of the people that are saying, I don't do it, told you, whatever, they are afraid to leap. They're afraid to even pivot, even on the job, afraid to even take a new position because they're comfortable where they are, afraid to leave a man even though they're unhappy, or a woman, afraid to move from this house because the rent is great, but they hate the community, but they just are afraid of what they may move to. Pivot. With faith comes finance, and also he will make a way for whatever way that you're going. This is Sherita Herring. I hope that this class has been very helpful. Thank you for joining me. Come back next time. Just listen in. I look forward to it. Have a great weekend.